Hello, it's Krista here again with you again today. And tonight, I guess it's later. And again today I've kind of been doing some more research and listening to podcasts and so forth and literature on gaslighting. I'm not sure if I still have my old gaslighting videos or if I've erased those since. But again, every time I research more about it or listen to more about it, it really rings a bell again, especially if we've just gotten bitten by the snake of the narcissist, whether that be a man or a woman, that can so viciously really take a bite out of your neck and can even cause physical sensations of pain and even illnesses and stuff in your life, where you can feel the pain all over your body. It can really leave a person feeling helpless, and just really devastated, and kept thinking in our own cognitive dissonance, confused that it is all our faults and why we can't leave these people. Sometimes the gaslighting can really be a chain to in your life. Like, you know that this person, what they're doing, maybe you don't realize it, maybe you're just new to learning it, can really just keep us zapped, like we don't have a choice, whether or not we want to leave this person or not. And maybe the devaluing has really gotten badly, and everything you do, they put you down. And where the gaslighting comes in at is when they begin to provoke you. They pick on your weakest, most vulnerable, not strong areas. And they can really get you at the worst times, when you really, really, really need them. Maybe you're married to this person and you just lost a job and you're really down on your luck. Maybe you have health problems. I know mine right now is my teeth. Because I'm still going through the painful process of being addicted to crystal meth 5 years ago. And trying to get the right dental help is kind of like pulling teeth, if you get that joke. I kind of have to make a joke about it because I have one decayed tooth after another in my mouth because it has wiped my whole teeth, all the enamel off my teeth, so from top to bottom. I've had to deal with that the last 4 years, but not only that, but also began to learn about narcissistic abuse after my last breakup, and was cast out by, and have been going through this with my own family, like my parents, for instance, my children, and just really seeing it play really badly, like in my face, the last relationships, period, when I look back to all of them. But the last one, I was really gaslit. And of course, other family members can pull out stunts like, if you need their assistance on anything, and you might not have anywhere else to turn to for support, financially, or any, missing pieces, even when you're an addict, and you go back to these dysfunctional people for help, but you've already began to create boundaries with these people. Maybe you've been through the first couple of stages already where we're learning everything we can about who narcissists are and what they do. It can, your PTSD levels and CPTSD levels are still great. Our survival skills are still just taking us into like a binding up our whole selves, and you're trying to learn self-care and self-love through this, which is one of the most important things we can keep doing for ourselves, making the connections to the coaches and therapists and such that have knowledge and understanding about these types of things, where you're not stuck all by yourself. To keep hanging in there, especially when you have people coming at you with like the gaslighting. We're going back to that. How I can start this maybe is by explaining again what gaslighting is. Gaslighting, and I use a lot of examples, is when, per se, I just heard the story about a woman that was married to a narcissistic man. And during this, and she was most likely had children. And during the time that she was still with this man, before learning about his bizarre behavior, when he started taunting her with gaslighting and provoking her into anger, frustration, and they will turn it all against you. He had taken his camera, and during the part where he had antagonized her psychologically and emotionally so badly, through just vicious comments and putting her on edge. Of course, anybody would get angry at this, but they can document these things. They can video record these things. They can line up people to watch it with them, be it if you're out socially. They can do it alone even, and make you think to yourself that you're obviously unstable, or you've got the borderline or the serious dangerous case of bipolar, or whatever it may be, that you're nuts or you're not stable, like I talk about a lot, which of course has happened to me in my own family dynamics and still plays a big part. It does get easier, but when you're being put in these types of situations again and again, we often can just start believing that that is true about ourselves, even though at first we fight it. Again, along the way, we start questioning ourselves like, well, even though that that you are not like that, you become afraid of them and what they're going to do with the information that they might have on you about these anger episodes that are perfectly normal. but also learning in all of this to observe, not absorb. Gray rock when you need to be expressionless, maybe ignore it, leave, or just whatever ways that you can do to stay calm. Try to stay calm and learn that technique is essential. Really, it can be very devastating what they do to us, and especially when you have kids. When you are afraid to divorce these people or leave them, they will put this control over you, be it with any means, money, cars, just any help maybe that they've been providing you, that they've made you depend on them for. Um, what you might notice a pattern drawing that maybe all they've done is helped you out for a while and then cut you off and just left you strained out there, and then maybe you lose that job, whatever kind of beatings they're putting on you or taking away certain things. Remember that this is not just a mistake, and that what they're doing is not on purpose. Even if they might not be able to see it in themselves, when we start learning about these types, we begin to be more wary and more aware of that these people are not quite right. Their PTSD levels don't shut off, and they're set to destroy. It's trauma related. It goes way back into their childhoods of trauma, or can be brain deficits as well. But don't put it past yourself that these people love to sabotage other people to gain just manipulative control. Some are worse than others. Sometimes it's really hard to see in the more covert, secretive styles where they can put on a great act, but all of a sudden, when you're down, like they say in all the FB stuff, when you're down, you find out who your true friends are. Again, they're talking about real toxicity of certain people and how to kind of filter through that. Whether you want to learn the hard way and not and stay in denial patterns and not learn about what's truly ruling out in abuse cases like this, or when you're finally ready to take that step, maybe you've seen enough or been through enough, or kind of are half and halfway and are just seeing all these negative traits, and we can become so terrified, and I myself as well, where the gaslighting can be so profound, whether you're keeping any type of relationship with this person, you know, even especially when the children are involved, that you have to be very careful when you are having conversations with these people, even for small lengths of a time, to really practice some mindfulness, meditative stances, and maybe meditation, practices of staying calm, especially in harder situations where they're trying to get under your skin. They're trying to provoke you. And when you see yourself getting upset, just to take some deep breaths, maybe get away for a few minutes, excuse yourself to the bathroom, come back and maybe learn the observe, not absorb technique. I know Ross Rosenberg is a really huge one to go out for, and he's got a lot of great classes on all of this stuff. which I've yet to read, but would really love to get a hold of his every little mind and thoughts. But it is essential that we learn how to stand up to these people with certain boundaries, certain things we can say to stop the attacks on us or other people around, in more loving, peaceful ways. Um, and a big one again is a lot of people think that when spirit is so huge, spirit can be, a big part of the way that we live our lives, if you are spiritual at all. But just to remember when Jesus turned his cheek, it doesn't mean to always turn your cheek during certain situations where a narc is involved. You have to know the danger signs and warnings, when to get out, how to get out, all the above, and definitely not call them a narcissist to their face, or maybe even start plummeting on their ego, which only angers them more into vicious cycles, to stick, just practice more being states and become like the Matrix in a way where we can stand firm our ground face to face with these people and say, that's great, but I'm not going to choose here to wallow in the mud with the pigs. But you're not really going to say that to their face, just in your mind. And turn away from that circus, whether it's with addiction, or codependency, that we can walk away from these situations and win, and not by arguing in their game of charades and gaslighting. Be true to yourself, and just have that space that you need to basically not join them whenever they are trying to provoke anything out of you. Practice gray rock methods. When you have to live with the person every day, that gray rock can kind of take away from the fun feelings. But more gray rock is used in just, when you have to be around them sometimes. Using gray rock every day after day is probably going to mess with you too, and can also create more states of cognitive dissonance. So you want to have those times by yourself and create a space for yourself where you can come back and connect with yourself, be it practicing painting, practicing working on your bike, a place where you can journal and keep in touch with yourself, because that part of the brain you're going to need to get through this and go beyond it. So thanks for listening again today. And yes, I did another bleach blonde. I think I might look a little bit like the poltergeist girl from the side. But I have been on and off blonde for many years, and sometimes I just enjoy going back that way. And with some health issues right now, like taking care of getting the rest of the teeth out of my mouth and getting dentures, I finally cut these bangs so it's easier to see y'all with. And good night.